Okay, welcome to a special edition of the Mael Time podcast. It is Motzei Shabbat, January 18th, late night edition with the brand new Washington correspondent, Washington White House correspondent for Israel Hayom, Ariel Kahana. Ariel, thanks for taking the time here tonight.
Hi, Daniel. Good to be with you.
I want to frame the conversation here. You tweeted a few hours ago, a stupid deal. We don't know who lives and who dies. An immoral deal. And this is a translation. You posted in Hebrew. An immoral deal, liberation of the most sadistic minds on the globe, a deal that is contrary to national security, scientifically proven after previous deals, a deal that gives a boost to terrorism, for which Sinwar ordered the kidnapping of settlers on the morning of Simchat Torah. And of course, Kibbutz Be'eri and Nachal Oz are nowhere close to settlements, a deal that imposes a death sentence on dozens, at least, of Israelis, and a deal that whoever signed it is not fit to lead Israel. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. So before I answer the question, I just want to tell you why I use the term settlers, because that's how Hamas and Sinwar are calling all Jews in Israel. Okay, actually, even Jews in America like you are, in their eyes, settlers, right?
Right.
So that's why I use these terms, that people will not forget how was it from their eyes. In any case, am I wrong? I mean, was there anything wrong not true that I wrote in that tweet? I mean, is it a moral tweet to let so many murderers to go out? Is it helpful to the national security interests of Israel? My answer is no, and it's a big no. I'm sure, by the way, that America would never sign such a deal, letting free, let's say, half of Guantanamo 1 year after 9/11. Would you ever do such a thing? Never, never. So, and on top of all that, Netanyahu, the Prime Minister, he promised us a total victory. You remember it, Daniel? Total victory. That's not a total victory. Actually, it's the beginning of surrender, because if this ceasefire is here to stay, and if we will not achieve the goals of the war, and it seems almost a year and a half now, with the first phase of the ceasefire is going to be close to a year and a half, it seems we are not going to reach the goals of the war. And by the way, we will not get most of the hostages. Okay, best case scenario, we'll get maybe 24 alive. All the other all will not be released or dead, right? And that's another reason why it's a horrible deal, because you pay the price you pay is so high, and what you get is so little. So yeah, so it's a stupid deal. It's an immoral deal. It's going against the national security interests of Israel. It is going against the achievements that our soldiers, with your help, by the way, did along this very tough war. So yeah, to me, the one who made the decision, he doesn't fit. He can't make it. It's contradict all what he told us for so many years. So if he can talk, but he can, if he can talk the talk, but cannot do the talk. So okay, thank you very much. But let's find somebody else.
I want to just push on that point for 1 second. How did we get to this point? Because it feels that certainly the leadership in Israel was saying that it was the Biden administration that was handcuffing them and not allowing them to actually win. And many people have argued that there's a sort of arms embargo. My position is that Israel failed to prepare for decades. And therefore, even if there was a problem with the Biden administration, there's still immense problems when it came to Israeli leadership, both in the Ministry of Defense, the IDF, and political channels. Which doesn't excuse the Biden administration, but it was a lot to do with Israel's lack of preparation. But the expectation was that Trump would make it much easier for Israel to achieve total victory and to win. So how did we get to a situation where Trump seemingly is pushing Netanyahu are encouraging him to actually do a deal like this?
So, the question is, sorry, I mean, it depends where you want to begin the answer. I mean, I can begin after Trump victory, and I agree with you. My expectation was, and that's another reason why I'm so angry with this deal. I think Netanyahu should have told Trump, Mr. President, Biden limited the supply he gave us. He did help. He helped with his right hand, but he put so many obstacles in his left hand. So please, Mr. Trump, give me 2 months. Give me all the ammunition I need, and give me 2 months. Let me stop the unnecessary supply which goes into Gaza and helps Hamas. Daniel, it's insane, and the soldiers at least as good as I am. I went into Gaza, and the soldiers are showing me the Hamas people who are taking control of the supply. They tell me, you see this guy? He is a Hamasnik. So, and that, let's say that we were forced to do all that because of Biden. So Netanyahu should have told Trump, I need 2 months. I want to cut Hamas and from the supply. I want to cut the money they get from the supply, and then let's try to make a deal in much better conditions. I mean, it's another aspect why it's so insane. You're doing on January 25, while Iran is so weak, after you broke Hezbollah, after Assad is not here, after all the Iranian power is so weak, you're doing the same, and after Sinwar is dead, you're doing the same deal that you proposed on May 24. See, so many things have changed. So again, all of that just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, and you have hundreds of terrorists who will go free. You have, and the most brutal people that you have in the globe. Okay, really, I mean, I can tell you tonight in Israel, so many people I know who lost their loved ones, and they're going to see now. Okay, if not directly, the murderer will go free. So the one who planned the terror attack, they will go free. So many people, so many terrorists who were sentenced for life to sit in the jails are going after 5 years. Okay, all of that doesn't make sense. It goes against Israeli security, and we all know that not very far, many of them will go back to terror. They will attack again. They will kill again. They will help Hamas. It just makes me crazy.
And Ronan Bar actually said this in the meeting. It was reported that he said that 82% of the released hostages from the Shalit deal went back to and participated in terrorism. I guess my joke off that was just that the other 18% weren't available for comment, but we'll see.
And by the way, some of those terrorists who were released during Shalit deal and then were arrested because they came back to terror will now be released again. You see the absurdity? Wow. I mean,
right.
Really.
Right. Okay. And I'll add that if I was a family of someone who's held hostage, I understand why they'd be pushing for a deal that was perhaps not in the ultimate best case scenario for the national security interest of the country. I understand that as a father and as someone who would do anything for a family member. But this doesn't even achieve the goals that even the left wing activists were hoping for, because it said they wanted all 98 all at once. And it's fascinating to me that I guess people try to thread the needle and say, well, you're never going to have a perfect deal. People are going to be upset on all sides, but I just can't understand why would Hamas ever turn over the last of the live hostages? Because the second they do that, they know that Israel would go full force into completely obliterating them. So this is actually creating more of an incentive structure for them to actually keep a live hostage.
I agree. And by the way, Hamas is trying, I mean, as long as there is no ceasefire, during these days, he's trying to keep the soldiers. Okay? The risk that Israelis will be killed is not done on October 7th. It's still here.
Well,
right?
Hadar Golden, Hashem Yikom Damo, was kidnapped 2 hours after a U.S. brokered ceasefire in
Okay,
2014. 2 hours
okay,
into the ceasefire, and his body's still held hostage. So
correct.
when we say the ceasefire starts, I actually sent a message to a few soldier friends, and I said, just obviously be as you're always vigilant, but just remember that the
Be
last time,
careful.
yeah, be careful. This is they used it as an opportunity to try to catch people with the guard down.
So yeah, okay, I agree, of course. So, but now you mentioned the families. I have no even tiny critics for the families. They do what they have to do, and that's fine. But the point is, and by the way, I don't think it's a question of left and right. I mean, you have people who are as if leftists and they're against it, because now I'm now in America, and so now a lot of people are using the term of common sense. This deal is going against common sense. Okay, but so you mentioned so it's not left and right, but left, right, family, not family. We are choosing leadership to make the right decisions. You and I, as private people, okay, ordinary Israelis, they might have their opinions. Jews always you have an opinion, but you choose your leader to make the right decisions, not because of what he sees in the polls, because to decide what should be good for Am Israel. And in this case, I'm sorry, not only this deal is very bad for Am Israel, this deal goes against what Netanyahu was preaching for years. And he has the experience of the Shalidid, which he also did against his own ideology. So why is he repeating the same mistake, the same catastrophe? Really, I can't get it.
And someone asked me this week how I was feeling personally, and I was ecstatic for the few families which maybe will see their living relative. Again, Hamas still has not released the list as of now, and that was a part of the hostage deal that was agreed to yesterday. And the other, I was saying I'm very sad because I'm in touch with a number of families who lost their sons and brothers fighting in this war, and they feel that their graves are being spit upon with this deal like this because they fell to try to eliminate Hamas, and that this should be the final time that the state of Israel has to confront Hamas as an organization. And that's kind of why they signed up and why they were insisting on fighting as hard as they did. And it's hard for them to see that that's not achieved. And it's just very heartbreaking all around. What would you say in terms of, Americans who are looking and trying to understand what the Israeli people are thinking now and people that were in Miluim? What would you say the split is in terms of people that are kind of done and want to deal at any cost because of the time that's gone on with the war, and those who are saying we have to push forward?
So first of all, I'm in America now for weeks, so I didn't have the chance almost to talk with Israelis over there, and give you an authentic feeling in Israel. What I can tell you is, and what I see in social networks, from let's say the limited conversations I did, is that even people who support the deal, in this case, they understand why to resist it. So in maybe that's kind of nechama purta. That's a little positive in a way that there is no split. Let's put it this way, okay? Because I understand very well why Netanyahu decided to do it. I disagree strongly, but I understand. And I think it's the same, just exactly the same. People who in bottom line support the deal understands very well why people like me are against it. But again, it's not question of left and right. It's not question of anti-Bibi or pro-Bibi, because you know me for a long time, Daniel. Usually I used to be with Bibi. I supported his policy. I supported his wish for total victory. I supported the way he stood against Biden when it was needed, etc., etc. So it's not personal. It's question of policy and decisions. And in this case, in my opinion, although I appreciate a lot of the deeds he had all along the years, in this case, to me, it's a major mistake, which really, yeah.
And how do you think? So how do you think this plays out? Do you think we realistically get past stage one?
I don't know. As you said, they didn't send even the list when you and I are talking. I don't know. I really don't know. And by the way, another part is that we don't know if that actually they got the same price for dead and alive hostages. So why not? Let's say they find someone for them. Why not killing that hostages immediately? Because in any case, you're going to get the same price, right? So oh, I don't know, Daniel. All of it is so insane. What the list I do know is that it was very hard all along the negotiations to be in touch with Sinwar, because he doesn't want us to find him with the intelligence tools we have.
And you're referring to Mohammed Sinwar,
Yes.
Yahya Sinwar's brother, who's also a completely despicable terrorist.
Correct. People say even more extreme than his brother, and but both of them are murderers. So
Right.
yeah.
And I wanted, before we close, I want to just move to the other side of the country for 1 second. What's your read on what's going on in Syria? I saw that the new leader of Syria met with the prestigious leader of Qatar. I'm not sure which wife he brought to the meeting of the three, but what's your read on Israel's position in Syria and how that's unfolding?
So first of all, Julani, he didn't meet only Qatar. He met the Saudis. He met, I think, the Egyptians. In any case, he's meeting everyone. Oh, sorry, not the Egyptians. He met with someone from the UAE, if I'm not wrong. In other words, what I want to say is that it's not that they are going only with let's say more extreme part of the Sunni world, like Turkey, like Erdogan, and Qatar. They're also in touch, and I said positively, they're also in touch with a more moderate part, like the UAE, like the Saudis. And on top of that, the messages they sent, as far as I followed, regarding Israel were positive. So I'm not so much worried from, at least now, I'm not so much worried from the new regime in Syria. What I am worried about a lot is what's going on in Lebanon, because I remind you there's a ceasefire there, and Hezbollah is now trying, so many fronts we forgot, but Hezbollah is already trying to reestablish, to come back, to smuggle ammunition, all what they know how to do. I will remind you, they still have a lot of power. Although we damage them strongly, they still have a lot of missiles, a lot of ammunition, etc. And what I hear is that that this process that was part of the ceasefires, that to check and what exactly they do. So what I hear is it doesn't work the way it should. Okay.
I think it was. I think that they never expected it to work. I think that's kind of the agreements that Israel keeps agreeing to, is agreements that they expect are not actually going to work.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the theme.
Of course. Oh, you're right. You're right.
The theme is that we say Israel says they're going to do certain things,
and you're right. And
it doesn't work.
And once again, we're in the same dilemma. Okay, so should we now send the Air Force? Or maybe troops on the ground to fight all those violations of the deal that will mean of the ceasefire. That will mean renewing the war. Do we want to be there? So that is the exact same dilemma we had after 2006. It's going to be different in a way that when the violations are very clear, the Air Force is bombing, and we are doing it, but I know there are cases that the decision is, okay, give up. I mean, blind your eye as if you didn't see what happened, and let it go through. And to me, that's talking about the North, that part is much more problematic.
And I'll just close here with the incentives that are given to terrorists in Israel after this deal. It's more important than ever that people are vigilant, making sure that there's no people aren't letting their guard down, and I hope that the soldiers are equipped properly and have everything, because now there's really an incentive. I saw Hillel Bitan Rosen. I think he said it as a joke, but he was essentially saying that we could just save the budget of pursuing the terrorists that murdered the Holocaust survivor 2 weeks ago, because they'd probably just eventually get out in a deal. And it's a sick joke, but it's unfortunately the reality.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully we can reconnect in the next couple weeks after the inauguration and get a feel for what's going on. And I guess if we're looking to the positive, I hope tomorrow we'll see live hostages reuniting with their families. That would be a nice thing to see, if we're going to look at the positive through the deal. And thanks a lot for taking the time, and best of luck
Thank you.
in the new role. And
תודה רבה. Thank you very much, Damian.
the
תודה
States.
לך for all what you are doing. תודה רבה.